Welcome back to TechSpace, everybody, and in this video we're going to be going over writing to a file. So if you want to write to a file, basically what I mean by that is that we are going to be taking some text and putting it into a file, and this will translate over to any type of information that you want to write in a file from a program. You're going to want to use a similar method because obviously, again, you're moving information from one spot to another, so the way that you do it is the same, but a few things may change. But obviously, you know that the way that you do it is going to be the same across no matter what type of file type you're using. Now, what you're going to want to do first, we'll go ahead and delete this from the last tutorial, is give ourselves a new header. In C++, headers or header files, sometimes they're called header files, are basically telling your program what type of values, what type of functions and stuff like that they should look out for. So when you're using different types of header files, you're telling your compiler and the IDE or the integrated development environment that you're using, you're telling it basically to use a certain set of rules, and that doesn't change the code at all. It just allows for more functions. So for this one, you're going to have to add another header file. We have the IOStream one up here, and I didn't explain this very well. It basically is, and I'll just read this straight off Google. It says, well, let's see. It says IOStream provides basic input and output services for C++ programs. IOStream uses the objects CIN, which is our input, COUT, which is our output, CERR, and CLOG for sending data to and from the standard stream's input and output, error unbuffered and log buffered respectively. So basically we'll go over what CERR is later in CLOG, but don't really worry about it too much right now. What we're going to want to do again is add another header file, which is going to again start with include, the number sign, and then include, and then we are going to write FStream. And what this is going to allow is for us to write to our file. So this means FileStream, and this allows us to open a file and then write to it and then close it. So when you open a file, you're going to want to have a way of opening it. So we haven't went over functions yet, so you don't know about objects, but basically you're going to want to create something called an object. And the way you're going to want to do that here is, I'll write out the first line for it. Well, I'll just start writing it and I'll explain it after it's written. So we have OFStream, and then we want to write any name we want because we're going to create a name for an object. So I'm just going to say the text-based object, put a semicolon, and that's the end of our first line. So we have OFStream, which is basically saying to our computer that we are going to be streaming a file and we are going to give it this name. We want this container, which is basically serving as a variable to hold the information of that file and be able to send it from one point to another. So this is the object we're going to be using to move our data. The next line, we're going to type that object name. As you can see, it pops up as we're typing it, but when you're first starting the program, you don't want to get into the practice of not typing everything out. Type everything. I recommend when you start a new tutorial, one of these tutorials, delete everything on the screen and start the next one. Write it all back down, because that's how you're going to remember it. Now, to finish this, we're going to want to again open the file. Now we can open any file we would like, but for this we're just going to create a file. Sorry, and to do that you're just going to want to put the name of the object again, a period sign or a dot, and then open in all lower cases. After open, put parentheses, a semicolon, inside the parentheses, put two, I'm sorry, I'm literally need something to drink, but put two quotation marks, two double quotation marks, and in between there you can just put something like mytext.txt, which is going to be the text file that we're going to create on our computer. Next, we're going to just go to the next line of code and put something into that file. Now we're going to use that object name again, because that's what's going to be carrying the information, that object. So we're going to put the information into the object. So what do we want in our file? We're just going to say, if this works, the file will, or FileStream is complete. And then we'll end that. And next, we're just going to close the file. So when you're done, you have to open the file, you have to give it a name, you have to append something to it, and then when you're done, you have to close it. If you don't close it, it will never, everything after this will, the computer or the compiler, I keep saying computer, I don't mean to, I mean compiler. The compiler will think that you're still putting stuff on the file. It's called appending stuff to the file. And if it thinks you're still appending things to the file, it's just going to submit that to this file, and then you'll probably just end up getting an error message. So make sure you close your file when you're done messing with it. Since we had this, we just use our object and we type the object name dot close, empty parentheses, and a semicolon to end it off. Now we have this done, we're just going to go ahead and run it. And here we go. So we have the program running, done. Now I'm just going to go to my start menu and type in mytext.txt, and for some reason it did not find the file. So instead of just cutting this, let's go through this in together to figure out why it's not showing me the file. Okay, so if we open up c++.com, we have everything right, basically. Yeah, everything's right. Writing this to the file, this is literally the same exact code that we have except for the object name, obviously. And everything's right, it's just not working for some reason. Code said this code creates a file called, which inserts the example into it in the same way you do it. So it's saying that it is creating that file, but when I go to start, and I'll even show you, when I go to start and I type in the file name that we created, which was mytext, right? Mytext, I get nothing, and then I put .text and I still get nothing. If I go to my File Explorer, let's see if it makes a difference. File Explorer, mytext, and it didn't find anything either. So I don't know what's wrong with that. If you guys know, leave in the comment section below, and I'll make an updated video on this. It's really weird why it's not showing up. I've never really used this in programming, and it's really only used when you're doing some type of SQL. Well, not even, that made no sense at all. When you're not doing some type of like, I guess a program that needs user input, obviously, but something that you need the person to save a file, and really for apps, for stuff like that, you don't need the person to save anything to a specific file. Other than that, again, leave me a comment in the comment section below if you understand what's wrong with this. I have no clue what's going on here, but this is how you append things to a file, or write text to a file, and it should have created this text file. Let me know if it's creating it for you, and if not, we can go over it in a different video again. Other than that, I'll remake this video and put it up, but for now, this is how you do it. And whatever I'm doing wrong has to be very simple. And if you know, put in the comment section below. But other than that, like and subscribe to this channel. I work really hard on my videos. I have tons of content coming out. So please subscribe to my channel and like this video if you enjoyed it, other than the fact that the file wouldn't open. But again, we're still learning, and they're not going to let that hold us back. I've been learning literally like 4 or 5 different programming languages, from Python to Java. So in my head, like literally, you know, I have a bunch of different languages in my head right now. And all of those tutorials will be on my channel again, on Java, JavaScript, the C++, obviously, HTML, CSS, web design, web development, computer networking, computer everything. Literally, if you need anything, any help with any college course or anything that's CIS related, or if you don't know, computer information systems related, let me know and I will help you out with that. No problem. Literally, if you need help with a test, quiz, anything like that, let me know. This is the Tech Space, and I will see you guys in the next video, where we will be going over Boolean operators, which is something I should have covered before, maybe when we went over variables, but I missed it, so I'm going to come back to Boolean operators, and we're going to knock that video out. So I'll see you guys in the next video.